When you go and you take out your phone and you see the screen light up, you know that you are free because you just spent your own money like a free person.
If you love liberty, declare your independence by signing the Shire Society Declaration at shiresociety.com.
This is our final panel of the day. Because of where this is located in the Free State and because of the history of both this state and the movement of cryptocurrency, for this is in our second annual event. We did this last year. We're going to have one panel which is kind of dedicated to the Free State activists. For those of you who don't know, it's a very there's a lot of freedom activists with a huge overlap with crypto in this state. It's hard to judge, and I've used a stat of saying it's one of the highest concentrations of crypto. I'd say one of, because you can't really ever be sure. But we do know some data points. We do know there's a heck of a lot of crypto companies. We know there's a lot of crypto people. We know that I think it was 6 years ago. Was it 6, 5? I don't know. A long time ago at PorcFest, Charlie Shrem, Roger Ver, and Eric Voorhees came and talked about crypto, or talked about Bitcoin back when it was at $1 or something. A whole bunch of people bought that, and a lot of those people held because they believed in better money. So there's been, for a long time, there's been a big overlap and cross-pollination between the Liberty community and the Bitcoin community, which is now morphed into this larger crypto and blockchain community. And that makes sense because, as I've said before, Bitcoin and everything around it, even the blockchain not Bitcoin crowd, the whole thing, it is a political movement, and there are people in the particularly these very blockchain-y focused kind of things, it's, token groups and that kind of thing don't seem very political, and they may not even know they're political. In fact, I can guarantee that they don't. But when you're talking about things like privacy and freedom of money, you better believe it's political, because whether you believe it's political or not doesn't matter. The people with the guns and the power think it is political, and they do care, and they're not going down without a fight. This is not going to change without powerful institutions at least trying to hold it back. And that's why I've kind of shifted the narrative. I used to say, let's tear it all down and destroy it. Destroying is kind of hard, and also, I've fought enough in life. I'm not really keen on fighting a lot of really bad sociopathic megalomaniacs with all the guns in the world. I'd rather chill out and have fun, show them the value of freedom, show them the value of this technology, and with a lot of things like the equity markets and the way currency works, a lot of this stuff, it just sort of makes them irrelevant. It just kind of makes it, I've talked a ton. If you're interested in tokenized securities, you can look at it. Growing up with my mom, being in the little kid, growing up in a brokerage firm, and all my life working there, 27 years, I've been registered and governed in some capacity. A few years ago, I knew right away there just wasn't a choice with these. No matter how anarchist you are, securities laws are the law. They've been the law for 85 years. It's just like something like drug laws. You can be the most progressive, freedom-loving, drug freedom activist, but it just wouldn't be logical to open a store selling something like heroin in New York City. It just wouldn't work, and that's the way securities laws are. You can't really just route around them. So early on, I recognized that like it or not, many of these laws exist, and some of them aren't actually that bad. A lot of the rules relate to things like that libertarians and anarchists respect, like private property, and you want to have some sort of rule system that says if you sell 10% of a company and then you get acquired by Microsoft, that shareholder actually owns something that's worth something. You can't just say, no, sorry, I diluted you or whatever. So anyway, it's a big process that's worth thinking about how the regulatory environment and everything fits in with this. But I'm really optimistic as a freedom-loving person that hopefully without much bloodshed and without a lot of hassle, we can displace this old system with a better system, a more peaceful, more voluntary-driven system. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these things are just driven by voluntary transactions. That's all something like, you hear all this talk about equity, securities, tokens, and layers of all these things. At the end of the day, really, a security is just an agreement. It's an agreement that's tradable. An agreement is the foundation of free market economics and voluntarism, and it's that kind of freedom that I think that we can bring to the world. Even those people, like I said, who don't even know this is political, they're just going to suddenly wake up one day and find themselves a little more free. That's a good thing. And these people are the kind of people who are leading that, who are, one of the things I love about, why we moved the company here, is some of these diehard activists. They're all crazy, and they're all awesome, and they go out and they're continually fighting the good fight for freedom. And they're, I mean, we have we have 3 or 4? 4. But there's 4 of them coming onto this panel, and there's literally thousands more in this state. And that's what's so wonderful about this. I definitely recommend anybody interested in this kind of topic to come up here, spend some time, think about moving here. There's no taxes. There's a lot of good people who care a lot about free market economics, sound money principles, and sensible, freedom-oriented, peaceful-oriented politics. So without further ado, we'll have Chris Rietmann, Darryl Perry, Derrick Freeman, and Ian Freeman. I'll let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. I'll just kind of walk around with the mic, and you want to, yeah, let me know when you have questions in the audience. Thanks, Ian.
Hello, and thank you so much. Oh, we do have more than one mic. Okay, cool. That'll make things a little bit easier. So you guys probably got the show and tell documents that we were handing out just a few moments ago. And thank you for being here, by the way. It's been a great... How many of you guys have never been to New Hampshire before? First time. First time. Not bad, not bad. Just a quick survey here of everybody in the room. How many here have never spent Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency in real life, at like a retail merchant establishment? Who has never spent cryptocurrency in a real life merchant? Okay,
we need to fix that.
We can fix that today, actually, because you're in New Hampshire. And this is actually the reason why we're here doing this panel, is because we want you to know how cool it is to actually live in what we've been calling the crypto Mecca. It literally is the #1 place in the world to spend cryptocurrency in real life at local businesses, and there's a reason for that. So I wanted to get into why that is, but first to take a little more of the temperature in the room here. So a bunch of you have spent crypto in real life. Of those of you who have spent your crypto in real life, how many of you did it in New Hampshire? Okay, so a good portion.
How many in the last week? Nice. The last day?
Right here. So the activists you see here on the stage, I'm going to introduce them. We come from Portsmouth and Keene, New Hampshire, which are the 2 hotspots here in New Hampshire. These are the places where there's more crypto accepting businesses per capita than any other city in the world. And please, if I'm wrong about that, and you think there's a city that's got more per capita than either Keene or Portsmouth, please let me know, because I want to compare. I want to check that. I want to check that claim. I've been making that claim for a while, and nobody has contradicted it to this point. So the reason we're having this panel is to inform you about what's going on here and why New Hampshire is a special place. And Bruce touched on it earlier. It's because of the activists. It's because of the libertarians who've picked up their lives from all around the globe, and they've moved here as part of a mass migration over the last 15 years. Since long before crypto came into existence. And then in, of course, 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he or she is, released Bitcoin to the world, and here we are. How did we get here? Well, I want to introduce our panelists. I'm Ian Freeman. I'm the host of Free Talk Live, and actually all of these guys are hosts or former hosts of Free Talk Live. Derrick J Freeman here, he is one of the, well, I consider him a brother.
Yes,
from
some relation.
From another mother. He was a former roommate of mine out in Keene. He went on a victimless crime spree a long time ago. There's a great movie about that if you haven't seen, check it out at victimlesscrimespree.com. And then has moved into a completely new area, which is AnyPay and the world of cryptocurrency, and actually creating the tool in partnership with Steven Zeiler, who is in the audience, creating the tool that these businesses use. So when you go out tonight, or this afternoon, or whenever it is you get a chance to explore Portsmouth, and go on the world-famous crypto tour, which we'll talk about here in a moment, the system that you're going to use to pay with crypto, whether it be Dash or Bitcoin or something else, is AnyPay. And so a New Hampshire-based company has made all of this possible. And of course, this can be used in any city. It doesn't have to be Portsmouth or Keene. It's just, these are sort of like the test markets where we're having real success. So that's Derrick J Freeman. We also have Chris Rietmann here, who, if you attended last year, you may remember he spoke about his experiences as a store owner. He owns a shop in Keene. It's called Route 101 Local Goods. They sell kind of like New Hampshire-made crafty items by...
Crafty.
Yeah, by crafty people.
They are crafty.
And they take cryptocurrency, and they have a crypto vending machine on the premises. And so he told kind of stories from what it's like being there. And that was kind of what inspired me to ask Bruce and the crew here at the convention to be able to put this panel on. I thought Chris's presentation last year was so useful. Let's expand it. Let's talk to people from Keene and Portsmouth. Let's get the larger picture of what it's like to be in crypto activism, for lack of a better term, here. And then also Darryl W Perry is at the end there. He's a former presidential candidate with the Libertarian Party, has been the chairman of the New Hampshire Libertarian Party, or the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, I should say. And is just an all-around amazing activist, has basically never stops doing activism. And a while back in Keene, he kind of picked up the ball with cryptocurrency activism and brought on some local businesses in downtown Keene. So he's got a lot of experience, being in the trenches, getting out there, as do all of these folks. So there's my introduction, and I wanted to kind of start this out. And questions are going to be welcome pretty much at any point, but we'll get a couple of questions out for the panelists. And then if y'all, if you're inspired, if you got a question, put your hand up, and we'll get your question on here. I can think of a lot of answers to this question, but I wanted to throw it out to you guys, and we're not going to necessarily go in any order, so whoever it is that's inspired to answer first, just jump right in. What are some of the things that make New Hampshire stand out from the rest of the world regarding cryptocurrency?
Well, I think the first thing, and several people raised their hands when asked, have you used crypto in the last day? That's something that really stands out between New Hampshire and everywhere else. You talked about going to Austin, Texas, not too terribly long ago, and you wanted to use cryptocurrency. You went to CoinMap, and you were looking up all of these businesses that were listed as supposedly accepting cryptocurrency, and you couldn't find any. Here, there's a map in Portsmouth, there's a map in Keene that designate here are places that accept crypto, and they actually accept crypto. And we're talking printed maps, not go to a website and somebody said a thing. Like actual places that you can go, actually use crypto to buy actual things.
I'll take a shot at that. I think getting the right collection of people here during the formative years really spurred along crypto in New Hampshire. So we had a huge influx, an influx that continues through the Free State Project and a libertarian migration to the state. You have people that are not afraid to take some of their own personal time, some of their own effort to go out and advocate for cryptocurrency and to share what's good about it and why it's not only important for businesses, but it's important for individuals. I know a lot of speakers have talked about this, but this is technology that helps everyone. And we can't make it instantly grow by snapping our fingers. We need real companies, we need real businesses and real people to spend money with those businesses.
Yeah, I challenge you to do something today when you're out in the world buying something, maybe you're at the bar later, and say the words "live free or die" to the bar owner, the cashier, whatever, and watch the smile appear on their face. Hell yeah! That's the attitude around here, and that's one of the things that makes cryptocurrency so wildly popular. It's been accepted at many businesses for years, and so when I go and buy a cup of coffee or my dinner with cryptocurrency and say, I want to pay with Bitcoin, cashier doesn't bat an eye. That's something very mundane for them, and they're so used to it. They often have been asked, will you take a tip in Bitcoin? And they say, sure, okay, how do I do that? They open up, get an app, and they can take a personal tip. with several different cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin. So these people are so educated and eager to accept your digital cash. That's what makes New Hampshire completely different from any place else I've been in the world where Bitcoin is accepted. It's kind of a grind, it's a process, it's inconvenient. Here, you're gonna see, try it. It will be easy.
I'm glad you brought that up about the New Hampshire business owners, the people who are behind the scenes that run these businesses. I didn't mention a whole lot about myself, but I'm also somebody who's done a lot of onboarding, of bringing businesses on board, talking to owners of these businesses and explaining cryptocurrency to them and getting them to accept it and helping them troubleshoot when things go wrong. And it doesn't take them long to realize, like they'll ask you questions like, can I take this away from the government? Can I keep the government away from this? Like they're very interested. They don't want to come out on Front Street about it. They don't want to advertise that they're trying to avoid the government, but almost to a T, business owners in New Hampshire, like, they don't like the government. They're not interested in paying taxes to the government. They're not interested in greater regulations. There's a reason why they call this the live free or die state. There really is that attitude. It really does exist in the natives here in New Hampshire. So you combine that, sort of a native population who actually cares about freedom. Well, guess what? Everybody likes money, so these people also like money, and they like keeping their money, and so when they realize that cryptocurrency can help them not only keep more money from every single sale, because they get 100%, when they take...
Right, whereas with credit cards, you're losing 3% off the top, plus a 30-cent transaction, plus there might be some other fee, and it's ridiculous.
I opened up my Blue Merchant account statement just before I came on, so this is fresh in my mind. Yeah, I lost 2 or 3% on what amounts to about 50% of my sales. That's just because those credit card costs are there. They are part of life if you run a small business. Before this gets to anti-credit card or anti-anything else, I will say, I dare say, that across this great vast country of ours, there are a whole lot of businesses that do not report everything they take in cash. Does that surprise anyone? Do you think everybody keeps it actual down to the dollar? Do you think any business owner ever just grabbed a 20 out of the till to pay for lunch? Of course they do. Crypto doesn't make that more prevalent. It just makes it the way cash is. Except it's much more direct and I don't have to even deal with a bank.
Right, and let's talk about some of the tax things, because I've often been asked the question of, so what are the rules on reporting this for taxes? Well, if you want to get technical, in accordance with the IRS rules, I think it's line 21 of the 1040, you're supposed to include, quote, income from illegal activities. So if you go out and you like sell some crack, the feds want to know how much money you made from selling crack. And barter, they want to know capital gains, capital loss based on barter. So you cut somebody's grass, they gave you lunch. At the end of the year, you've got to figure out, what was the depreciation of that ham sandwich that I had on June 4th. Nobody does that. But because there's, this ledger thing that can be traced, people somehow think that, oh, well, I'm going to have to go back and something. No, people avoid taxes all the time. Avoiding taxes is a wonderful thing.
What else makes New Hampshire unique, and I hope you'll forgive me for getting icky and bringing up the government, but there's so many movers here as part of the Great Migration of people who love liberty and are migrating to this area that have gotten involved politically, that in June of 2017, a few of the freedom lovers convinced the other legislature in New Hampshire to sign what we term the Cryptocurrency Protection Act. The governor, if you look it up, the governor is standing there taking a picture with there's all these coins. There's Zcash on there, Swarm City Token, library credits is on there, of course Bitcoin, and the rest. But he doesn't even know what's going on. I mean, he's just standing there, like looking into the camera, holding up a sign saying, "Yes, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, welcome in New Hampshire." And that's another thing that makes it pretty unique. Whether or not the government knows what's going on, technically.
Let's talk about that, because even the need for that piece of legislation was a complete mistake. to where there was a state rep that introduced something to rewrite the money transmitter regulations, and originally it did not mention virtual currency at all, but somehow got amended to include convertible virtual currency as something that the banking regulators could oversee. And there was another piece of legislation that would have completely exempted cryptocurrency from banking regulations. That other piece of legislation was turned into the creation of a committee, the Commission to Study Cryptocurrency Regulations in New Hampshire. And the chairman of the commission, who happened to also chair the legislative committee that passed the original thing, said, had I known a year and a half ago what we accidentally passed, I never would have recommended passage of HB 666, which was the actual number. House Bill 666 wound up saying that the state can regulate cryptocurrency, and then there was the other piece of legislation, I forget the number, I think 472, that wound up saying not so much. Now, unfortunately, the new bill that went through didn't actually strike the language that was adopted a year and a half prior. It just added an exemption. So there's ambiguity. If you go through and start reading, then some people have gotten confused, but the banking regulators have admitted we're not regulating cryptocurrencies in New Hampshire.
I'd also like to add to that, we were at those hearings.
Yes.
So, imagine where, you know, typical political hearings, boring stuff, right? People don't want to go, people do not want to go to these hearings, but they're important, especially when we're talking about potential regulation or deregulation of cryptocurrencies. While you have New York State creating a bit license and running business owners out of the state, you've got New Hampshire essentially doing the opposite.
Yes.
And creating a situation in which crypto-to-crypto exchanges, businesses that are doing crypto-to-crypto type of business, are no longer considered money transmitters. They're not regulated by the Banking Commission at all. Further, just the as-is status here is that a crypto purchase, say from a vending machine, which we have a bunch of in New Hampshire, we've got more in New Hampshire per capita than I think any state in the region, if not arguably a good chunk of the world. Selling cryptocurrency, whether it's me selling it to you directly or the vending machine standing in for me selling it to you directly, that's just a direct sale. It's not a money transmission. And we've actually got the banking commissioner at one of those hearings on video,
on film,
saying, yeah, it's just a vending machine. We don't regulate that. It's like a snap machine, basically. So, you know, go to these other states where they want your ID, they want your phone number, they want your blood type, you know, they have to get your handprint in some of these machines. It's like, here in New Hampshire, if you want to buy Bitcoin anonymously, you can do that. Okay, there's a camera watching the store to make sure they don't, you know, you don't pull the machine out with a truck, but, you know, we don't know who you are when you're buying the actual crypto. So again, that's another thing that makes New Hampshire special. We have people coming here from other places just to buy crypto because they can. Not only is it cheaper in New Hampshire, but it's also more anonymous. Let's go down and just throw out some products, because we mentioned at the beginning, oh, you can buy all these things in New Hampshire. What are some of the coolest things that you've bought in New Hampshire with cryptocurrency in real life?
I'm wearing a suit that I bought here in Portsmouth with Bitcoin from a tailor who accepts Bitcoin for all of his services. This morning I bought breakfast with Bitcoin, and I drove a car here that I bought with Bitcoin here in New Hampshire.
You didn't buy it with Bitcoin?
No, I bought it with Dash, so it's a stand-in. I'm using it like Kleenex, whatever, you know. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I have yet to buy anything, but I will say that Route 101 Local Goods, located at 661 Marble Street in Keene, New Hampshire, has a selection of wonderful items, and the home of Bitcoin Embassy, New Hampshire. No, it was great. Last night we went out to this was just spur of the moment. We went out to a restaurant to have a Bitcoin meetup. We paid in cryptocurrency. What my favorite part of last night was convincing the waitress to load a wallet so we could give her tips. Because usually, you know, you tip in cash, you pay in crypto, that's how a lot of places work. But I kind of walked her through the install, and then she got it done. She's like, okay, I think it's done. And so I'm like, okay, hit the receive button so it displays your QR code. And she goes like this and forearms like reach in, start taking pictures, you know, start snapping her QR code. And literally, everybody I think was paying with Dash. Literally within 30 seconds, she's just like, I just got 45 bucks. I'm like, well, yeah, we're all generous. And we're all really gung-ho when anybody can accept crypto for anything. So I'll say tips.
I would say the coolest thing I've ever bought with crypto would be several airline tickets. In direct violation of federal election laws.
That doesn't
when I was
count.
a presidential
That doesn't
candidate.
count. I'm talking about in New Hampshire.
I was in New Hampshire
That
when I
doesn't
bought
count.
the airline ticket. But still, that's the coolest thing that I that I
Real
bought.
life. Real life. What are
real
some
life,
highlights?
I buy lunch or supper, you know, on a regular occasion. I indirectly bought a thing that most people think looks like a bus, but legally is not a bus. I say indirectly because the YMCA that I bought it from didn't take the crypto, but somebody bought 2 Bitcoin from me and then I used the money. So indirectly not a bus that is converted into an RV. But yeah, lunch all the time, haircuts. Honey from Route 101 local goods. It's locally sourced honey. And that's the best kind of honey. No, because it helps with the immune system.
I get my car repaired for cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of car repairs done recently.
Don't you see a dentist for?
I haven't seen him yet.
Okay.
There was a dentist that just started taking crypto in Keene, thanks to AnyPay. He wasn't my dentist, so I've had to move my files from my dentist. Because first I pitched my dentist and I said, because I've been there for a dozen years, ever since I moved to New Hampshire in 2006 as part of this Liberty migration. And I said, look, you guys are great. Your staff has been fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about my experience. I would not leave you for any reason here except I'm being tempted to leave by this other dentist in town who wants to take cryptocurrency. And my dentist gave it an honest look. He took the time to, you know, do some research, took a month of his time. I don't know how much he actually spent on it, but it took him a month to get, you know, he actually got back to me and he said, at this time, he's just not ready to do this and that he's sorry and he wishes he could keep my business. And I said, well, I'm sorry too. Your staff has been great and please go ahead and send my files over to this other dentist. So I haven't gone there yet. I don't need a cleaning until February, but I've got my you know, I'm scheduled for that. So we got dental work, we got automotive, you mentioned the tailor, the restaurants, food trucks. There's so many different things that we can do here with cryptocurrency. In fact, I think one of the other things that makes New Hampshire special, besides the fact that when you go to a map point on
There's a lobbyist in New Hampshire that takes crypto, and that doesn't exist anywhere else.
So besides the fact that when you go to a point on the coin map and you actually can find a crypto accepting business, there's actually kind of a crypto business-to-business economy that's starting to develop. And so, in most places, this doesn't happen because it's like there's one restaurant in town or there's this one thing over here. But we've got so many business owners taking crypto, they're interested in spending their crypto with other businesses if they can. So I'll give you an example of that. You can purchase advertising in cryptocurrency in Keene, New Hampshire. There's something I didn't hand out because I don't have enough for the whole room, but there's a map, and I've got them sitting right behind the gentleman with the camera there, Michael. He's got, there's a stack of beautiful, colorful maps. That's called the Portal Map. You're welcome to grab a copy for yourself, take it home, take a look at it, and you'll observe a few cool things about it. So this guy, I've been trying to do advertising in local publications, like on radio and in print, and you can see that Monadnock Shopper News with the article about Bitcoin on the front page. That's one of the things that we've done there in Keene. It's just basically a puff piece for Bitcoin. That was sent to 40,000 households in Cheshire County, and it's just all about how great Bitcoin is and what you can do with it. So when I contacted the guy from the Portal Map, I said, hey, I want to buy an ad to promote Bitcoin on your map. Will you take Bitcoin in payment? Now the Shopper News didn't take Bitcoin. Of course, I'm offering everybody Bitcoin to pay them. They didn't take it, but the map guy was willing to take it. And not only that, I said, it would be cool. It'd be cool because I noticed there were a couple of businesses that were on the map that were already Bitcoin accepting businesses in Keene. I said, it would be really cool if there was like a little Bitcoin B logo. So when you look at the map, you can actually see there's little Bitcoin logos next to each business on the map that takes Bitcoin. And it's sort of all tied together by the big Bitcoin ad that's on the...
Yeah, and about that map too, we talked about the circular nature of business and Bitcoin and crypto. A lot of those businesses ended up paying for their ads with cryptocurrency.
That was going to be my point.
And that some of them only bought the ad because he was accepting crypto.
That's right. He got new business. So he had one lady, Corner News, who you mentioned Bitcoin's been taken for a long time here.
5.5 years?
Corner News started in 2013 taking cryptocurrency. So she's done pretty well because she's held on to it. She was on the fence. She wasn't sure if she wanted to advertise on this map. And then when he came to her and said, hey, I'll take crypto, sold.
We were the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way. The guy had been in and bugged me. It's like, oh, great, another map salesman. He's a nice guy, but I'll take Bitcoin. Let's talk.
Yep. So that's cool because it's a way for those business owners to avoid cashing out. Now, they've mostly been holding on to it. It's very rare that the business owners, from my conversations with them, will actually cash out. They see the value and the potential value in cryptocurrency and they're hanging on. But if they get the chance to spend some of it, then they're excited about it. We had one business owner come to you, wanted to buy a shed at Route 101 with cryptocurrency. So I think that's really cool, and it's just barely kind of the seed of this business to business. Another good one, we just brought a brewery on in Keene. In fact, it was Doug. I say we. The gentleman sitting in the back.
Raise your hand, Doug.
Back row. Take the credit, Doug. You deserve it. Doug is going out there. He's hitting up businesses, going door to door, and talking to people. And he got a brewery on board, which is really cool just on its own. But here's the other thing. The brewery sells Little Zoe's Pizza. Anybody been to PorcFest? Porcupine Freedom Festival? Okay, if you've been in the last 3 years, you know Little Zoe's Pizza. You know
the yellow pizza truck?
Yeah, it's great pizza. They take cryptocurrency. They've taken it for a couple of years. Guess whose pizzas they're selling? It's Little Zoe's, which means that if they want to pay for their pizzas with crypto, they can do that. So now you've actually got a business able to pay their vendor with cryptocurrency. And isn't that what we want to get to, where the business owners don't ever have to cash out of the crypto, where they can actually buy more products from their vendors and their
Chris,
sellers?
how many of your vendors do you pay in crypto?
A couple. It's not a lot, but I will say over the last year there's been more interest. We've offered that from day one. We'll send you a check on the 15th, or we'll pay you in crypto. But we've had, a couple that have been consistently doing that.
One yoga studio in here in Portsmouth that's been taking Bitcoin for over a year just refurnished, did a complete redesign of their business using Bitcoin that they accepted from customers, and they spent it all at overstock.com. Yeah. So to them, it didn't feel like it cost them anything. They've just been taking this money from customers, and then boom, they can spend it all at Overstock and completely do a redesign of their yoga studio, which is beautiful.
So a lot of this is happening because of a small group. I mean, Bruce talked about how thousands of people have moved here, and he's right about that, but they're not all crypto activists. They all have their own things they're interested in. They may be interested in marijuana legalization or homeschooling rights or gun rights or whatever it is that floats their boat. So I don't know what percentage of them are crypto activists, but I know there's a core group. Like in Keene, it's probably not more than half a dozen to a dozen of real core activists. In Portsmouth, I don't know how many, I don't know if you have an estimate, Derrick J. I know you and Stephen are sort of heading up the pack there, but there are some people in Portsmouth who are regularly going out there and they're paying with crypto.
It was way before we moved here. That's part of the reason why we chose Portsmouth, is because there were already activists giving presentations back in 2011 here at the Music Hall, a Bitcoin symposium.
So there's a couple keys here.
Yeah. Jeremy Kaufman, who was on a panel earlier, told us he went to some crypto thing last night put on by the World Affairs Council, and the guy that was organizing that event actually reached out to me because we had a relationship from several other events that I've done, and he said, hey, I've got this crypto event, can you help spread the word? And I was like, yeah, I can tell the people that I know. By the way, are you taking crypto for your crypto event? And he said, not yet. How do I do that? And so I shot him a link over to Coin Payments, which is an online payment processor. And he wound up within a couple of days, sent me a link, hey, cool, we're taking crypto now. So this guy that was putting on a cryptocurrency event wasn't taking crypto until he reached out to ask if I could just tell some people.
So not only do we have a concentration of activists, But one of the reasons why New Hampshire was chosen as the destination for this sort of freedom migration is its low population. Okay, so there's only 1.3, maybe 1.4 million people that live in New Hampshire. In Keene and in Portsmouth, we're talking about 20-ish thousand, 22, 23,000 people live in these towns. And the fact is, everybody knows everybody else. You know, if you've been around for a few years, you start meeting people, you sit out on Main Street for an hour, 3 of them walk by. It's just that kind of world that we live in. And so when a business starts taking crypto, and then 5 more start taking crypto, well, everybody talks. And so the business owners know their customers, the business owners know each other. And so it's not uncommon to have a conversation with somebody who's in business and say, oh yeah, well, Roberto over at Corner News has been taking crypto since 2013. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I was in there the other day, I saw the sign on the door. Or this one guy who owns a landscaping company was talking about how he was at Hot Hogs Barbecue the other day talking with the owner, and she was saying good things about cryptocurrency. So if a business owner is having a positive experience, and almost all of them have, there have been a few exceptions, but I can only think of 2, but almost all of them have a very positive experience with crypto, so when their friends and their family members and the locals and their customers talk to them, they're giving good reviews. So not only are these people seeing the signage as they're walking into the shops and the restaurants that they're going into, the average people, they're seeing Bitcoin, they're seeing Dash, because those are the 2 big ones here in real life acceptance. Those are the big ones in New Hampshire. But they're hearing about it, and they're seeing it like in Keene, where we've got this advertising campaign going on, which is funded by the cryptocurrency vending machine. So we've got these people coming in who are spending money, like coming in from New York, because you can't find a crypto vending machine anywhere in New York since the bit license came in, except in New York City. So upstaters and folks from Massachusetts who don't want to pay 20% in Boston will come up to New Hampshire. So they're feeding money into this machine. We take that money and roll it right into promoting cryptocurrency in the local area. So we've got all these different ways that people come across this message to where, in New Hampshire at least, it seems like people know. Have you guys had that experience where people just seem to be aware?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I can say, working in our shop and doing what we do with the embassy, I've watched over the last 3 years that we've been in business, the number of people who had a basic level of basic awareness of cryptocurrency or awareness of Bitcoin has gone like this. It's almost 95% of people. Nobody comes in anymore and says, Bitcoin, I've never heard of that. Yeah, everybody has.
The only people I encounter who are shocked to see a Bitcoin accepted here sticker on the door are out-of-towners who are visiting Portsmouth. Everyone around knows that that's an everyday thing.
Right.
Here's another question, and I want to say this. Obviously, we still have plenty of time left. If anybody here has a question, throw your hand up. We'll make sure you can ask these guys. Yeah, we can stop right now, sir. Go ahead with your question.
Sure, my name's Jeff. So I have a question. I heard what you're saying about business owners.
Thank you, Derek.
So I have a question about, as a consumer, using cryptocurrency to purchase things. So last year here I bought a t-shirt with, I think, Dash. And when I showed my crypto transactions to my accountant, which some people may think is a good thing or not, but I chose to, one of my transactions was taking 20 bucks or whatever and buying the equivalent $20 t-shirt. So you have to actually track that. Whether you made money or not on that crypto, you have to tell the IRS about that, supposedly. Is that true, or how are people supposed to report that they use cryptocurrency to purchase things?
So as I understand it, the IRS says that cryptocurrency, much like gold, silver, your baseball card collection, the Star Wars figures that you've had since 1977, those are all commodities, and they are capital. You're supposed to track the capital gains or capital losses. And as I said earlier, I don't know anybody that actually tracks all of those, because they also want you to track capital gains and capital loss of barter. So if you pay the kid down the street to cut your grass with a ham sandwich, you've got to figure out the depreciation of the ham sandwich versus the grass cutting.
I'm going to go all Martin Luther King Jr. and Thomas Jefferson and say that when we pass stupid laws that serve no real purpose. Those laws should and rightfully should be disregarded. Now, I'm not going to debate whether you unloaded $20 million of cryptocurrency and whether that should be a tax issue. The government's certainly going to have a strong opinion about that.
Oh, they have strong opinions about everything.
But casual day-to-day business transactions, like you're talking about a $20 t-shirt, 30 bucks for lunch, I left a $10 tip. I'm not going to trouble myself with that. Does anybody think you should trouble yourself with these small business transactions? Really? For a show of hands. Who thinks I should be logging all this stuff?
Who tracks every transaction that they have ever made, ever?
Crickets? The crickets win.
The one guy, and I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
You know, business owners do ask this question that the gentleman asked.
They do.
And I'm not a tax accountant or an attorney, so I can't give legal advice, but it seems to me that the government just wants money. And so it seems to me that the best way, and that I believe that most business owners handle this, is they just report it as cash. When they ring up the sale, they got like an other button or something, and it's the equivalent of cash. They, you know, if they're paying the sales tax, which they don't have in New Hampshire, but if they're paying IRS or whatever on a certain cash amount, then that's all they need to know. And of course, we don't agree that they need to know anything. They don't.
Right.
Screw
But
them.
the idea that pragmatically I should track capital gains, losses, or gains,
That's insane.
It's
It's
insane. And you would spend your entire life doing nothing but that.
Isn't that really the challenge? I mean, obviously, as a small business owner, you know, I do deduct meals and entertainment. I came up here, traveled, flew, rented a car. Obviously, if I paid it in crypto, I've got to declare that. Or if I'm going to take a deduction, I've got to declare that. So, you know, therein lies the problem. And we had last year, about this time, there was a bill in the legislature to allow a deduction, or at least to omit transactions up to $600 in crypto. It didn't get into the tax bill, the tax reform bill. But you know, at some point or another, there's got to be a way to, you know, to measure this and to, you know, and to report it if it's necessary, or to omit it.
Well, they have a way to admit
and treat it as cash.
The way you measure it is it's on the register, right? So you rang it up as a sale, and it's in your register, and then you just.
No, I think what he's saying is, as the end user. So I bought a Bitcoin on January 3rd.
Yeah, you don't need to tell anybody about that.
And whatever the price was, and I spent a third of it today. According to the IRS, they want me to figure out capital gain, capital loss.
Yeah, nobody's going to do that crap.
But his point, I think, you were talking about really about
you need to do
deductions and things like that. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, that becomes really sticky, and that's some of these areas where we need to ask people to clarify, or you don't pay it.
All right,
you know,
so
that's the thing. But or give it a cash equivalent at that point.
I think there's a reasonable action for just passive resistance. I mean, there's no question.
Oh, I totally agree with
Yes.
passive
Yes.
resistance. And I don't want to get too far off into the weeds of tax advice. So if we could keep maybe questions around like expertise on New Hampshire and the cool movement and stuff that we have here that makes us special.
Hi there. Yeah, so I'm actually kind of curious from a miner's perspective as far as like the cost of electricity, what that looks like. Because
Big problem in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's
yeah. If there's more to the question, keep going.
yeah. I was gonna say like kind of like a hypothetical example is if I wanted to set up a mining rig to mine, let's say Ravencoin, for example.
Sure.
What would the cost look like to that compared to other states and?
Chris, you've got some experience mining Ravencoin.
Well, I was going to say, I happen to be following along like the day they released Raven, so I was able to mine a whole lot with a laptop until the GPUs came along. The advantage that New Hampshire has for miners is we're really close if you want to move to Quebec.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in the winter time it gets cold, and so the mining rigs could be used to heat the house.
They do. They can heat your home, but it's going to cost you.
There are people who do it though. We got a guy that comes to the Keene meetups. His name's Bruce. He mines Monero, and he's really into it, and it appears to be worth his while. So I mean, some people made it work, but the cost of electricity is very, very high. So if there would be some way to get, I don't know, hydroelectric or solar power, some other way to reduce your energy costs, then obviously that would be worth your while here.
And I will say there is a pretty healthy, green, sort of crunchy environmentalist movement around here who There are people in New Hampshire that are actively doing like micro hydro on their own property if they've got a strong stream or a small river. A lot of people doing solar projects, wind projects. So, so if you're getting it off the grid as opposed to buying from the grid, mining may be more feasible.
So, gentlemen, why is it that a crypto Mecca, which, for those that don't know, Mecca is sort of a place where people will go to, Muslims will go to on their Hajj, which is their traditional pilgrimage. Obviously, we want people to come here and stay. But it's great that people come visit and go home, but we want people who love liberty to come here and stay and help make this better. Help make this whole situation where we have more businesses accepting crypto, where we have more people out there spending crypto, because that's the other side of it. When you get a business owner accepting crypto, you don't want to leave them hanging out there with nobody coming in to buy from them. So we have Bitcoin meetups that happen regularly in Keene and in Portsmouth. And out in Keene, we go to the different places, wherever it is we can go to spend crypto at like a restaurant or bar or something like that. We go there regularly because we want them to get crypto in the door, and that's important. But why is it important to have a place like this shining beacon for cryptocurrency?
I think first and foremost, it gives a real-world example of you can actually use this for something other than buying things on Silk Road 4 point whatever. I can buy lunch. Derrick can buy his tailored suit. He can go get yoga classes. There are all of these things, real world examples, and it sort of shows sort of that beacon on the hill sort of thing of you can do this too.
I just got to say that we need to break down barriers, and crypto's a great idea. It's brilliant. We've known that for years now. But where does it go if nobody uses it? It doesn't go anywhere. So we need to establish these real use cases. We need to demonstrate that this is a functional thing, and not only will the business owner benefit from using it, but you will benefit by using cryptocurrency. That's a real message. I just can't emphasize enough the importance of regular businesses. The businesses I've been most excited about that we've brought on recently, a car dealership. Okay, that's not like a real, it's not like, wow,
it's not an everyday use thing.
It's not an everyday use thing, but it's one of those things that people will absolutely use, and crypto may make that a real attractive thing. The other one has been the dentist. I mean, who doesn't
real medical services.
Right, real things that are actually really kind of governed by the government, but actually, one of those things that you're going to use. You're going to go to the dentist. That's what I get excited about.
It's fun. Example or not, like setting an example, that's great, but I'm in it for me. I'm having fun when I spend cryptocurrency. You will too. When you go and you take out your phone and you see the screen light up, you know that you are free because you just spent your own money like a free person without permission, without any kind of oversight or anyone else telling you you can or you can't. Like, you are free and you can exercise that today. And I do it because it's fun.
Oh, I got to put in one little plug. I think he'll be working tonight, but Brad, the bartender at the bar here, now has a wallet.
Wait, bartender here?
Yeah, the bartender in the hotel here.
You did that?
I hooked him up last night.
What wallet did you set him up with?
I set him up with Edge Wallet, and we got it, and we all tipped him, and then I came back in because maybe one more before I head home. He's like, that's on me. I'm like, really? He's like, I never get a night like this.
It feels
good. And it was
good.
just because he got like boatloads of crypto. He's like looking at his balance going, this is a Tuesday night. Yeah, so that was...
It does feel good.
You'll feel liberated, they'll feel liberated.
I think it's great that...
Real human connection.
After years of us... I moved here in 2006. Derrick, I think 2010 for you?
Yeah,
late 2010?
2011.
2012 for you, Darryl?
Yes.
2013.
2013. So, we've all been here for years, and when I first moved up, there was a big movement of like civil disobedience. I mentioned earlier, we made a movie about it, Victimless Crime Spree. But you know, if we could have moved here and helped people get wealthy, help people protect their wealth from the ravages of inflation and the Federal Reserve, if we could have done that right off the bat, that would have been great. But Bitcoin wasn't available when some of us moved here to start this. So I'm grateful that now our activism can actually help our neighbors become again, more wealthy and hold on to their wealth, and that's how, you know, they're going to overcome whatever they've heard about the libertarians in New Hampshire. If the libertarians help them make money, they're going to be hard-pressed to think negatively towards us. If the libertarians are the ones coming in, paying them with real money that they can actually see go up in value. Now, obviously it helps when crypto's going up in value, and this year's been a little tough, but what's interesting is the business owners are not dissuaded. And so, you know, my concern might have been like, oh crap, it's going down. Are they going to bail? Are they going to bail out?
Right.
And they're not. They're not bailing out at all.
A lot of them want it even more because they're like, oh, I used to charge you $100 and that was, you know, this much Bitcoin. Now I charge $100 and I get even more.
You get more of it, exactly. And they know.
One thing that's interesting, you mentioned Corner News that came on back in 2013, accepting crypto. It wasn't long after Roberta started taking crypto that I went in one day and she said, you know, there's people that aren't part of your group, meaning the libertarian, like there are people that aren't part of your group that are coming in here using this stuff. It's like, great!
Yeah.
Great, so this shows that it's not just the libertarians using their, you know, drug money or whatever people think it is.
It's very good for business. There's crypto tourism that happens here, not just from within New Hampshire, but people come from out of state just to experience it for themselves.
Right.
That's good for business.
Hence the name Crypto Mecca. Tell a success story, if you can think of one, like a real win of being out there and not just spending crypto, but whatever it is that comes to mind. Maybe it was bringing a business owner on board that was particularly rewarding. Was there anything that just jumps to mind? Did you have a real success story? I mean, obviously we've had a bunch of successes, but, you know, a highlight.
I'd say I've got two. Getting Roberta brought on, taking Bitcoin back 2013. And I remember I stopped in one day and mentioned the price to her, and she was baffled. Wow, it's that high? It was $45. She was astonished that Bitcoin had gone up to $45. She knew about Bitcoin, and wow, it's $45. I should probably get on that thing. So that's success number one. And then success number two, I would say, is definitely all of the work behind the scenes on getting the crypto deregulation passed. Where I mentioned New Hampshire has a lobbyist that takes crypto. That would be me. And that piece of legislation, it was a couple years in the making. I mentioned a little bit of the history and just, you know, continuously pressing the legislators of trying to get this done. We need to this thing that you introduced, you've got this word that's not the same verbiage that you have in this other, so now it makes it sound like you're only deregulating Second Life dollars, not actual cryptocurrencies that are convertible, which is the language that exists elsewhere. So getting that regulation rolled back, huge success, but again, it never should have been implemented in the first place, and the chair of the committee said he wishes that they never actually passed it.
I'll throw out a couple things. First of all, a lot of my successes, what I would think of successes, are more person to person and not me to a business. I mean, there's a lot of people. I run a shop. I'm in the shop all day long, so I don't get the time to go beat the streets. But I get to have crypto conversations with customers. Oh, you accept Bitcoin? That comes up as many times as I have customers in the store, 70% of the time, oh, you accept Bitcoin, which always leads to a conversation. So I'm always promoting it to people. This is something you can use, and there's a lot of good reasons why you should do it. My other new goal, what I want to be when I grow up.
You're going to grow up?
Believe it or not. I know. I'm like the only guy here with gray hair. So, is there any gray hair here? No. How you doing, man? I want to hit every bartender, waitress, and service person I can possibly find to get them to install a crypto wallet. That was fun. I just enjoyed it.
Beautiful. We are all at the Free State Blockchain Digital Assets Conference, and my partner and I opened last year what we called the Free State Bitcoin Shop. And we thought it would be really cool to come up with a world-famous Bitcoin tour.com. So we made that website, and then since there are over 24 businesses, I handed you all a map before we got up here of the different places where you can spend cryptocurrency. My favorite story, there's a lot of successes here, but the favorite one is the people I've never met who took the world-famous Bitcoin tour, a group of Chinese men who flew in from Vice.com in the Chinese version. Somebody sent me a link. It was written in Chinese, and they said, look at this, they actually visited Portsmouth. They took the world-famous Bitcoin tour and reported on it to the Chinese media, to Vice.com. And that is so cool, and not happening anywhere else. That's the great success.
And they didn't even come talk to you about it.
They don't know who I am.
Right. There's, like you said, there are so many wonderful stories. A personal one for me was recent. As I mentioned, I've been doing a bunch of media advertising. So you've got the Shopper News, which is basically like a puff piece. Done radio ads. We've actually done them on a rock and roll station. We've done them on a sports station. We're doing them right now on a talk radio station in Keene, and these are branding ads that some of them explain kind of basically what crypto is, some of them explain why business owners locally are accepting it, so to help kind of people grasp some of the basic ideas on a simple, you can only do so much in 60 seconds. So we have a few different types of ads that run. Another one was a giveaway ad where anybody who contacted me who was new to crypto, I just give them $50 worth of crypto. And what inspired me on this was Roger Ver. Some of you probably heard that name before, Roger Ver. So he actually, years ago, I figure most people know who he is. Years ago, this guy came to Keene, New Hampshire, and I don't even know if you were there. I don't even know if you were there? Okay. So Roger comes in there and is giving away 10 Bitcoin to anyone who would install a Bitcoin wallet on their phone. At that time, it cost him $10 for 10 Bitcoin. I don't think I need to say any more about what that's worth today. And so I thought, I want to emulate that. I want to do what Roger did. I want to give away crypto. In this case, we're doing Dash and Bitcoin Cash to anybody who's in the area. So actually, I reached out to Roger and I said, hey, I want to give away crypto. I want to do Dash. I'm going to give $25 worth. Will you match me? And he said yes. So that's kind of fun. We're doing that. And the real success of that, because we got some response from the radio ads, we got some response from the Monadnock Shopper and all that. The real winner of all the different types I've tried was a giveaway contest on the local Keene Sentinel, which is the newspaper in the area. I ran for 1 month, 30 days, an advertisement right at the top of the Keene Sentinel's website. $500 crypto giveaway. It flashed up all the storefronts of the recognizable businesses in downtown Keene. Here's Corner News, here's Lineage Vapors, here's all these different businesses that people know because it's a small town. Not only do they know the business storefront, they probably know the owner so they can talk to them. But anyway, I got over 130 entries in this contest in 30 days, and that's a lot of people if I compare that to what the other giveaways that I've done have done. So I'm going to do another one. In fact, the way I did it was I had them write out a short little essay, it could be a sentence long or whatever, of how would you spend the money if you won this contest. And I also gave $50 worth of crypto to anyone who entered. So again, everybody came away a winner from this, and I gave them instructions on, okay, well now you've got, I'd walk them through the process. Hey, I want to make sure first of all that you're actually in the area. I don't want anyone from 4chan trying to get this free crypto. So I'd verify their phone number and send them a text message. And then once I was pretty sure they're actually from New Hampshire, from the region, at that point, I'd give them the instructions. All right, well, here's how you set up your wallet. And then send me back your Dash and your Bitcoin Cash address, and I'll send you the free crypto. And then you'll be entered into the contest. And more than half of them, like 70 out of the 130, actually went through all the steps in the process and got their wallet installed and got free crypto from me. And it was just such a rewarding thing to be able to help people jump over the hurdles, and because there is a bit of a learning curve with crypto, to be able to help that many people in just my local area do it. I'm like, yes, I'm doing this again. So we're going to do another one during the Christmas season. Do a Christmas crypto giveaway.
I just got to say, we helped Ian look at some of the entrants, and the one that I loved was, the question was, what would you do with $500 worth of crypto?
Right.
And this one lady wrote, I would buy a book on crypto, and I would give it to my grandson so he can figure it out and then explain to me what exactly crypto is. I'm like, perfect, we'll bring you on.
Here's another question for the panel. And again, if y'all have questions out there, okay, we'll interrupt for you, sir. Go ahead, Derrick's got the mic.
So we just did successes with crypto. What about like, it seems like you guys do a lot of on-chain transactions and like you hold your private keys and stuff. So what kind of disasters? How much have you lost, first of all, and then what's the most folly that you've had with on-chain transactions?
I don't want to think of any of this as how much have I lost, because then I'd probably try finding a rope that I could buy with a little bit of crypto. But how many people were here last year? I want to ask this question first. All right, so several of you have heard this story. For those of you who have not, I was reminded at this event last year about a horrible, horrible decision that I made back in 2011, where I sold almost 6 Bitcoin for the huge amount of $16. And within a matter of months, I think I had like 17 Bitcoin that I didn't really know exactly what it was. At the time, I only knew of Mt. Gox as having any kind of support. They had recently gotten hacked, and I was like, I don't trust this Bitcoin thing. So everybody that wanted to pay me with Bitcoin, I sold right away. So had I not sold all of that, I actually would have been buying some, and I would be in a lot better shape financially than I am right now. But I've made some bad decisions, and I've recovered mostly.
I'm going to spin this around. I have not lost as much in crypto through price increase than I have lost in valuation in US dollars in my lifetime due to inflation. Does that make sense? That the dollar has devaluated something like 50% since I was born. And if I look at my savings and money that I've saved over the years, I'm never getting that back.
Great, let's talk about that price valuation before Derrick answers.
We are short on time, so
yeah,
keep it short.
Yep, so I saw a chart a couple days ago showing that the median income for adults between the age of 18 and 34 in the US right now is about $34,000, which is the same number as it was in the late 1970s. However, the cost of goods have almost tripled in that amount of time. So that's that decrease in the value of the dollar that Chris is talking about. Derrick?
No, I'll pass. I don't have any great disaster story.
Bruce has informed me we're short on time, but you said one more.
Well, we're at time now, so if we could wrap it up, that'd be great. Maybe
Okay,
closing
nice.
comments?
Closing, anything else you got? I mean, we pretty much made our pitch here, but anything else real quick, guys?
Come to Keene, visit the Bitcoin Embassy located inside Route 101 Local Goods on 661 Marlborough Street, which is also Route 101 in Keene, not Marlborough.
How many people are familiar with a website? I hope every hand goes up. You know what a website is, right?
Yes.
So you can go to anypay.global and you can hook up a vendor who can then accept cryptocurrency. How many people have ever set up a wallet on their phone? Yes, we've all done that.
How many people have
You can do this. It's not about finding dedicated activists in New Hampshire. It's about you guys going home and just turning one more person, one business, one more individual onto the idea of accepting crypto. That's half of it.
You are in the live free or die state. Do something today that makes you feel more free.
Please live free and don't die.
One of those things you can do, and I know there's 5 o'clock today, Bruce, there's going to be a bar, an event in bar. He's going to talk about that. Whether it's before or after that, you're going to have some time in Portsmouth. Check that map that Derrick gave you of the world famous Bitcoin tour, and pick a bar or pick a restaurant. Grab some friends from the conference and go out and actually spend some crypto in real life. See what that experience is like. And then I, of course, agree that not only should you talk to local business owners where you live, but you should better yet pick up your life, move here to New Hampshire where you can team up with the rest of us so we can all be more successful at this together. Thank you, Bruce, for throwing this conference. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for you for being here.
Thank you, that's awesome. This is why we moved here. You know, we practice what we preach. It's the way it is. So what we're doing now.
We'd like to invite you to visit freekeen.com. Freekeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. Freekeen.com.
I should be in Keene, New Hampshire with the Free Staters.